Views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast.
Well, hello there, and welcome to this week's edition of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast, where we're talking beer, local beer. I'm John Engelman. Thanks for being here. We talk with owner-operator John Lee of New Province Brewing Company, but first,
Good news.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new Yeyos. Thank you for being here, and we'll welcome you guys. You guys are welcome to come in and check it out.
That's one of the 5 finalists for the Best Chef of the South from the James Beard Foundation, Chef Rafael Rios. His Yeyos El Alma de Mexico in the 8th Street Market reopened yesterday after being closed for a few months to add on and remodel.
This was a perfect opportunity for us to be able to offer the things that people need and want, which is a little bit more of Yeyos, the opportunity to have more seating capacity, to have more guests and make more people happy. The rest was, making sure that we have an opportunity to do some additional events, some private events, corporate events. So all of those things are going to be able to happen here in this very room. It has a stage for music or DJ. It has a little lounge area. So we should be able to do a lot more things to accommodate people that are coming with certain requests.
Keeping it with the new, they're also debuting a new menu.
One of the requests that we've had over the years is seafood. So we are bringing in seafood from as far as Spain, Chilean sea bass. We have red snapper on the menu. We have carpaccio, octopus carpaccio. We have different ways of cooking these things. We're gonna have tiraditos, very much from the La Paz area and also from Peru. There's tiraditos used everywhere.
Of course, Chef Rios has had a busy year, opening Casa Magnolia, becoming part owner and Bauhaus Beer Garden, both in Springdale. And in just over a month, he'll be in Chicago for the James Beard Awards ceremony with Conifer's Chef Matt Cooper to see if they can bring home some hardware to Northwest Arkansas. In East Fayetteville, Akira Sushi and Hibachi also opened up yesterday on Mission next to Fayetteville Beer Works. They've had a successful ramen food truck located in the Yacht Club and College. Owner Andreas Tan tells us what it was like leading up to getting the doors open.
Excited, anxiety, lack of sleep, just thinking about what to do tomorrow, and but when it finally opened, the anxiety is gone.
And now some sad news to report. The Pakistani food restaurant BBQ King in Bentonville has closed. The owners have received notice to vacate on their door. We reached out to them last week for a response, but have not heard back. For those that didn't know, the popular Honey Bean Ice Cream Company food trailer has moved. They're now behind the 5th Market in Bentonville at 5th and J Street until October. They'll be open Thursday through Sunday, starting at noon. Let's keep it with honey. In fact, you can meet a beekeeper if you want to learn about Arkansas bees and honey this Sunday at Orthodox Brewery, starting at 2. Orthodox will also have a special release honey beer. Some good news for Southeast Fayetteville residents as a new local coffee shop opened out your way. Café Lavande opened last week and serves a variety of coffees and teas along with pastries. They're located at 659 East Huntsville Road. Just take MLK from I-49 East and you'll run into it. The Fayetteville Flyer reports that Sakura Poke Sushi and Grill will open on the west side of Fayetteville. They'll offer hibachi, poke bowl, sushi, and more. It'll open at the former Dickey's barbecue spot at 3316 West Grove Drive. No word on timing just yet. A new drink place is coming to Northwest Arkansas. USip is coming to Fayetteville, and it'll be their first ever location. According to their website, they'll have sodas, energy drinks, teas, lemonades, sports drinks, and more. There are 3 founders, including former NFL quarterback Sean Salisbury. New Province Brewery opened in Rogers in 2016 and was founded by Derek and Megan McEnroe. In 2022, the brewery was acquired by John Lee and a few partners. Before New Province, Lee owned and operated Rebel Kettle Brewing Company in Little Rock and built it from the ground up. He took a shining to brewing at a young age thanks to his first taste of a craft beer, and it's one that helped start the movement nationally. We'll tell you which one that was. How did he learn to brew beer, by the way? Because he didn't intern anywhere. He didn't work at any breweries before opening his own. He'll tell you how he learned. And the lead up to opening that brewery, he'll tell you what he didn't know and what his first day was like opening Rebel Kettle. After 4 years, he did get out of the beer business and went back to his professional roots, which benefited him greatly. You'll hear that story. Finally, John bought New Province in 2022 and quickly looked to see what he had with an eye on expansion. He'll get specific on what some of their beers are and some that are coming down the pike. We talked with John Lee from New Province, and it's next, right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Welcome back. We are at New Province Brewing here in Rogers with owner-operator John Lee. And we are actually in the brewery. Where the beer is brewed.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, John?
Good, man. Appreciate your time today very much.
Glad to be here, for sure.
So, well, you have to be here. This is your
well, I don't have to be.
Well, that's true. We'll kind of get into that, won't we? So, what was your early background back in the day professionally?
Professionally, I was in auto parts for a long time.
Okay.
That's kind of where I started in early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I'd say that, I mean, along the way, that whole way, I was always in beer.
Okay.
I started brewing pretty young, so I think I was 20 years old. So with that, I mean, it was always in the back of my mind to kind of be in beer and try to get to the point where I'm at now.
That's great. And you came up through, you're from Little Rock.
I am.
What was the beer scene like there to make you want to start at the age of 20?
Well, so I moved to Little Rock when I was 17.
Okay.
And shortly thereafter,
where were you before?
I was in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah, right. So that's where I went to school outside of Charleston, a place called Goose Creek, South Carolina.
Okay.
And so it's funny, like I graduated in 92. In 93, I had some friends from high school. They had a wedding, so I went back to see them. And during that time, I tried my first craft beer, which is Sam Adams Boston Lager.
Sure, of course.
And that catapulted everything.
Sure,
I mean,
it did.
That's so I came back to Little Rock, and be honest, the beer scene here was pretty boring.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure we had Sam Adams. We might have, but we had a lot of imports. So I got into import beers, and from there, being young and being not so wealthy, I was like, we can't keep this up. And my older brother was the one who suggested, hey, we should just make our own. And there we go.
I mean, who's going to say no to that?
The rest is history.
I still remember the old Sam Adams radio ads, I think. That's how old I am, by the way. The radio ads where they said their brewery, and it was no bigger than a football field or something like that.
I don't remember that one, but I remember the one. This is the reason why we tried it.
And it was John Cook, right? The head guy.
Yeah.
He was the one that always did the commercials.
And the commercial said, well, we thought he said you could float a quarter on the head. And this is us being, 18-year-olds or
Sure.
17-year-olds or whatever we were.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, we got to try that. And so I think the actual commercial was that you could float a bottle cap on the head.
Okay.
But either way, out of the group of friends that I had, myself and another friend, we loved the beer. I
Yeah.
mean, it was just like nothing like you've ever tasted
Absolutely.
before. And so from there, again, I mean, I just started searching, and it goes through like a lot of experience of drinking. And,
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it took me to another level, and again, then I started brewing after that. So
Still occasionally, every once in a while, if I see the original Sam Adams on tap somewhere, I'm getting it.
yeah.
Yeah. because I love it on tap.
And you know they recently changed the formula, or they supposedly did.
Did they really?
It doesn't taste much different, if I can recall.
Okay.
I mean, they didn't change it much if they did. But
Huh, I wonder
think
why.
they just try to make it more relevant again, which, again, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
fantastic beer.
yeah, really good beer. I enjoyed it. I haven't had it in a long time, so I'm glad you said that, because now that I'm gonna taste, I'm gonna be tasting for a difference. And since I haven't had it in a long time, it's how will I know,
Yeah.
right?
And that's the thing, is like I went out and bought a 6-pack after they said they did that, and it's not much of a change.
Yeah.
But didn't New Belgium change Fat Tire too? I mean,
Allegedly.
slightly. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
But again, it just probably get people interested again in it. But
Yeah, interesting.
they don't even hardly do Fat Tire anymore, and that was the biggest beer for
That was
them.
huge.
Yes.
That was huge.
And now that's basically all Voodoo Ranger everything. So, which I like those beers too.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. So you're known for producing beer that's outside the box. What was it that kind of got you into that?
It's probably Wayne Wombles of a Scar City Brewing out of Tampa. So I used to listen to a lot of, I say they were podcasts. I was more on, they were barely podcasts back
Streams.
then. Yeah, they were streams back then.
Yeah.
And he was doing some things that were definitely like, I remember he was saying that, fruit and IPA was going to be the next big thing. And this is like back in like 2009 or something like that, but before it hit. And he knew it, right? And so that really kind of pushed the envelope for me to like try new things and build beers that, I've always prided myself on my recipe building skills.
Okay.
And I think that's where, what I'm good at. And so I'm able to use different grains and different ingredients to kind of create something completely different.
Sure.
And that's, I don't know, it's just fun. It's like a chef.
Yeah.
You have so much to work with, and putting something together that makes people interested and people excited about what you're doing.
I would think that would be, you would probably, and this would probably be for anybody doing this, the outside the box, there's got to be some glorious, glorious fails of something where you think would be awesome, and then something counterbalances it, and you're all of a sudden, well, it didn't quite work.
Well, that's what always drove me, though. I loved, coming up with I say picture
Sure.
in my mind of what this beer is going to taste like, what the body's going to be like, and then the challenge is, can I get close? Or
Yeah.
can I hit it even better?
Yeah.
And so that's like, even if you fail, you know which direction to go next time. Sometimes, yeah, it's a wash, and you're just like, I'm not going to try that again.
But it's the best way to learn.
That's exactly how you do it.
Yeah.
And again, back to, I think it's just like being in a kitchen. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yeah.
Just in a kitchen, the results are a lot quicker.
True. This is true.
But yeah, again, if you kind of know what you're doing,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
baking a cake. It really is.
So what was your first professional step into beer?
Well, it really came, after hundreds of home brews.
Yeah.
And then deciding that I wanted to start my own brewery.
So you didn't intern anywhere? You didn't have a job anywhere, kind of learning? You just decided, to hell with it, we're going.
No, I really learned brewing on forums. That was a thing back in
Yeah,
the day.
sure.
That's where I learned. Now it's YouTube, but
Yeah, it sure is.
No, it was all on chat forums.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned to brew from guys that, had been doing it for years, like homebrew clubs and whatnot.
Yeah.
I never was part of a club, but probably should have been. Probably would have helped me along.
Eh.
But regardless, and no, I didn't have any professional experience per se, but it just took the homebrew knowledge that I had
Yeah.
and then scaled it up. So I started, just out of the blue, I came up with Rebel Kettle Brewing Company.
And away you go.
And created a Facebook page, and then people started following. It took 4 years, but we were eventually able to open in 2016, and from there, we had a good 4-year run.
So now Rebel Kettle Brewery in Little Rock,
Right.
And was it tasting room, or was it tasting room and restaurant, or snack? What was the setup of the?
Yeah, it was a brew pub. So yeah,
Okay.
we had a restaurant.
Okay.
Fantastic outdoor area.
Yeah.
And the greatest little brew system, which is still there, but it's a 7-barrel Premier stainless system. I knew that thing like the back of my hand.
Sure.
I don't know. I think I did about 400
Well, you probably
batches on it.
built it up from the ground up.
Yeah, it was. We built everything out. Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was an amazing experience. It was.
So I have to ask, because I ask a lot of people this. I like to say I ask everybody this, but every now and again I don't. But especially for something like this where you're ground up, what was that last 24 hours like before you opened the doors?
Scary. It was scary before then.
Were you the day before? Please show up.
Well, not only that.
Yeah.
It's like the weeks, months building up to that. I mean, getting the permitting, getting the build out done, and then back to what I was saying. I mean, I was a home brewer. I wasn't a professional brewer.
Yeah.
I had no idea how much hard work this job really is.
Yeah.
So kudos to all the professional brewers out there, because once you go through that, you're just like, I mean, I literally was a point I was like, I don't know if I can kind of do this, because I was doing it myself at that time. It was before I hired our assistant brewer there. But yeah, I mean, it's a ton of work. I mean, you know, especially when we were trying to we had 16 taps that we were trying to fill.
Oh gosh, out of the gates?
Out of the gates. Oof. And I think we did open. Maybe we didn't open. I can't remember. It's been too far ago.
Yeah.
But and so that was always the thing, is the pressure of, you know, wanting to, you know, make a great impression.
Sure.
And, you know, I mean, I'm not sure all the beers that we released that day were the greatest, but, you know, I mean.
Do you remember that day at all?
Probably not. No, actually, I do. But it was really, I don't remember what day we actually opened. I think we maybe did some soft openings.
Sure.
And then I think we opened like on a Friday or something like that.
Yeah, of course.
And it was insane.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, you know, all the you know, worrying and everything was for nothing. You know, I mean, because
that's the way it always is.
Yeah. I mean, again, you want it to be perfect. And guess what? It doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah.
It just needs to be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, guess what? We're better than good enough.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. You guys were well received.
Yes. I you know, again, I pride myself a lot on, attention to detail, especially when it comes to my brewing. I just, you know, it was one of those things that I always wanted to be right. And you know, to this day, I try to do the same thing, I suppose, when I brew, but
sure,
it's a little less pressure.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, after being well received, you're there for a time. How long were you at Rebel Kettle?
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And
you come to the point where, you know, you decide it's time for something else. Tell me about that process.
So, when I started Rebel Kettle in 2012, again, I started it in my garage, brewing, I think, 5-gallon, 10-gallon batches. And the goal was to, one, create like an experience, I suppose.
Sure.
And introduce, you know, the community, or Little Rock at least, because I never thought I'd be big enough to be outside of that. Really didn't need to be.
Sure.
I wanted to have, like, you know, offer the best experience in beer and show people what beer could be.
Mm-hmm.
And over the 4 years, again, I think we brewed, you know, let's just say 400 batches and probably over 200 different beers. I mean, we did so many. It was, I mean, the things that we did, you know, again, people still talk.
Is that normal?
I don't know if it was normal, but it was normal to me. Again, I mean, you know, we were always trying to, like, and we probably threw way too much money at these beers, but
sure,
you know, again, it was all about, you know, not shock and awe, but more so, you know, just creating something that people could remember.
Yeah.
And so,
I get that.
And again, at that point in 2020, I felt like I achieved that.
Yeah.
You know, I helped, you know, build, because I feel like in Arkansas, essentially, like 2016 was the peak, like, and I felt like I helped create those other breweries, or help those other breweries, you know, that we have now. Yeah. And maybe even New Providence, you know. Yeah. I mean, I was part of that drive for Little Rock is becoming a beer city, you know. That was always my thing. I mean, I always wanted to make Little Rock, put it on the map. And, you know, I mean, we were part of that.
Absolutely.
And it was fantastic.
Beautiful timing.
Yeah. I mean, probably the best, in beer, you know, as far as for Arkansas thus far.
Yeah.
We got more time now.
Oh, there's no question. Right. Obviously, everything evolves and grows.
There you go.
For sure.
It's all cyclical, for sure.
For sure.
But.
And you jumped out for a little bit out of the beer business, and tell me what it is that you were doing.
So I kind of fell back to my roots in auto parts. I took a job with Crow Burlingame. I was a district manager. I managed 11 stores in Southeast Arkansas. It's a great learning experience.
Yeah.
I really wish I'd had that experience before I went into Rebel Kettle, to be honest. But you don't always get to pick these things.
So it's for the sales aspect, right?
Yeah, well, it's part of the sales, but I mean, it's more about managing people. And, you know, I mean, it's, again, experience.
Sure.
And, you know,
it falls into the category of you don't know what you don't know.
Right. You know, and, you know, but I was able to take that experience and bring it here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like what we're doing here, you know, I mean, obviously I have a big role in what we're doing here, but
well, of course.
it helps drive everybody else, I suppose.
Yeah.
And, we got a fantastic team here.
Yeah, there's no question. Then speaking of here, you start getting that itch to get back into beer.
I think the itch has always been there, but again, it'll take me back to when I was.
Rephrase. You decide you want to scratch that itch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, so I guess that was in 22.
Okay.
I think Matt Foster, which he's the owner of Flyway Brewing Company.
Okay.
He and I, once again, talking about people that help kind of build beer in Arkansas.
Sure.
He's one of them, and so I've known him since, I think, 2012, when I was trying to start Rebel Kettle. We met. He was brewing 10-gallon batches in the Loblolly kitchen, whatever, over there off close to 9th Street.
Okay.
Small stuff.
Sure.
This is before, they were in North Little Rock there. But we've known each other for a long time, continued to talk, and then the opportunity came up that, New Providence Brewing Company was for sale. And it was probably the worst time to buy a brewery, but guess what?
Probably not great,
but it's the opportunity is there. And again, I know what we can do with it.
Yeah.
And there was the other opportunities. We knew going in, Flyway was producing all their canned beers in Florida, but we knew going in that we could move that into here.
Yeah.
And so only to help New Providence and, to help it grow. That's almost immediately.
Yeah.
So that was always the goal. And we were why wouldn't we do it?
I can't help but to point out for those that are watching on YouTube, we're right next to pallets upon pallets of cans.
And most of what goes into those cans will probably be Blue Wing Berry Wheat.
There you go.
That's, that thing is we brew a ton of Blue Wing here.
Okay.
It's just a huge beer for Arkansas, and people love it.
Yeah. So you're now at this point, you buy New Providence, and you're at the point where you're by Arkansas, half Little Rock, half Northwest Arkansas. I can't say bi-coastal or anything like that, but you're kind of by Little Rock or Arkansas. Sorry.
Yeah. So
that was awful. Sorry. Go ahead, please.
I live in Sherwood, so
okay.
And to be honest, when we bought it, it was never my intention to work here.
Yeah.
That wasn't really the point, but once again, it's because it's hard to get away from beer, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And
somebody's got to lead the sales team.
Yeah, and so I decided that it might be best, and so I split my time now, and so I'm half in Little Rock, half here. We have an apartment up here that I stay in while I'm here, and so I'm usually up here. My schedule now is about 4 days every 2 weeks. That I'm up here.
Yeah,
and so it's working out.
It's a lot of miles, man.
It is. It's actually not too bad. That little section between Russellville and Alma, it seems like it's just dead there. But that's the part of the drive that I don't like. But
honestly, I have had a car die in that stretch on a Sunday. Yeah. Fuel filter goes out, and all of a sudden it's Sunday. I'm trying to drive to Atlanta, and thank God I've got it's a long story. It is such a long story, but I got back on the road and going thanks to roadside assistance, but it took some time and a couple of really what I thought were scary situations. My car got fixed behind someone's house. I know.
Right?
I know. We're pulling up to a house, and I'm thinking, I got my keys in my pocket. I'm like, okay, I'm between a guy and his girlfriend. I'm like, I can take her. I don't know about him, though. I'm a little concerned. Okay. But to your point, there's a stretch here that's not the greatest.
I always feel like I'm going to break down right on one of the bridges on 49.
Yeah.
Which I've always really wanted to stop and look at one, so maybe
maybe it happens.
Yeah, but hopefully not, because that's going to be a long tow.
That would be a long tow, not the greatest either.
Right.
So the first order of business for you with New Providence was expansion. Tell me about that.
Actually, the first order of business, we said we were going to take the first 6 months and see what we've got, and so that's what we did.
Okay,
expansion one was always in the play.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it took about another year for us to make it happen.
Okay.
We actually started putting that together in November of 23 is when, and I think we were finally online, so just say around December, January. But yeah, we brought in 4 45 barrel fermenters and a 45 bright to take on that. And to be honest, probably 3 of those 45s every week are filled with Blue Wing.
okay.
Now We do. Again, we finally brought on all of Flyway's brands now. They had a light beer that they were still producing down in Florida that we brought on last year sometime. Can't remember the month, but at this point, yeah, we do all of theirs. And I mean, again, it's been great for New Province, and I think it's been really great for Flyway as well. I think they had some QC issues, like when they were brewing in Florida, and being so far away, it's tough to kind of navigate that.
Well, it's hard to, yeah.
I mean, it happens. It does.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to produce in Arkansas and to be able to say that they're produced in Arkansas now, and so they are a sister company of ours. I mean, that's it. I mean, we share some ownership. Not ownership, but some of the owners.
Some ties.
Yeah, there's definitely some ties there. So
yeah,
and it's been a great partnership for sure.
That's great. We had talked a little bit before we started recording about the possibility of expansion out of state, and you had some pretty good opinions on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to move out of state. I don't think the market is ready for that right now. We can, as we move forward, I think we would. But I mean, I'd love to see like to push over the border in Oklahoma, Missouri, those things. But for right now, I mean, my focus is on Arkansas. Again, living in Little Rock, I'd like to see a better presence for New Province in Central Arkansas, and Hot Springs, those things. But obviously, our big territory is Northwest Arkansas. I mean, this is where we do most of our sales,
for sure.
And so we got to continue to do that and kind of like just help drive sales just for really everybody in the craft beer market.
Well, we're tiptoeing around the actual beer. You ready to talk about it?
Yeah, I love beer.
We'll do that, and we'll talk beer. We got that in the My King Win Home Pro Tip of the Week, and that's coming up next right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas.
Connect with us at Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Facebook and Instagram, or by email at flavorsofnwa@gmail.com.
And welcome back. It is time for the My King Win Home Pro Tip of the Week, and for that, we go to the Brewmaster, Mr. Lee. What is your tip?
Well, John and I were talking earlier about glass temperature, beer temperature, and the best temperature to drink it at. And so for a tip, I would say you want to stay on the warmer side, above 40, 45. Depends on the style. Darker styles definitely tend to drink better when they're a little warmer.
Okay.
And obviously lighter styles. I mean, you think about your light lagers that typically, I mean, yeah, you like those a little colder, especially on a hot day.
Right.
But for most beers, you want to keep it kind of in the middle there.
Sure.
I mean, for me, I mean, anything, getting around 40 degrees, 45, I think is a fantastic drinking experience. You get more flavor, and you actually can taste what the beer is supposed to taste like.
Yeah. So, get a little... Get like a little wine fridge, set it at that temperature, put some glasses in there, you're good to go.
I used to have one of those, and I used to have it a little warmer because, I mean, you put it in the normal fridge, you're typically like, a little bit above freezing,
right.
30, 35, somewhere in there. But
we got one in my house that's buried in the freezer. I mean, if I pull it out, there may be an ice pack attached to it, break it off and so
we had the little wine fridge, but it really was just a beer fridge. I don't think there was ever any wine in it.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That's a good tip. We'll be right back.
Your story doesn't have to end. As an organ donor, the good in you can live on. In fact, you can save up to 8 lives through organ donation. Sign up to give the gift of life after you're gone. You'll be happy you did. Just maybe, someone else will too. Sign up online today as an organ, eye, and tissue donor at organdonor.gov. It saves lives.
If one person has signed up to be a donor from this podcast, an organ donor, it's been very well worth it. Unfortunately, the rate of people being added to the organ transplant waiting list still far outpaces those that are donating. If you know someone that hasn't signed up yet to be a donor, maybe they mean to, but just haven't gotten around to it, make sure that they hop over to organdonor.gov. That's a place to get signed up. You hear me talk about it every week. It takes 5 minutes. Of course, I've only been through the sign up for Arkansas and Texas, and that does take 5 minutes. I can't speak for the other 48 states and everywhere else, but it's a very quick sign up. Of course, you can also do it through your iPhone, the health app there, and also at the department, the DMV, or Department of Finance here in Arkansas, just declare that you want to be an organ donor. They should ask you that. If they don't, remind them that you want to be an organ donor. Thank you very much. And we are back. We are here with John Lee, New Province. Sir, thank you for your time today. It's been fun.
It's been great. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
I almost said thank you for having me again, and I'm at our place.
Well, thanks for having me then. How's that?
Sounds fantastic.
Let's talk beer here. When you got started here and bought New Province, it was very much on the business side of things and getting going, but out of the gates, two guys. Court Castleberry and Hugh Brewer were the guys that kept the beer going, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough great things about our brewers. I mean, they do a fantastic job. I mean, if there's one thing I can say about New Province, and probably most, beer people would say that what New Province has is consistency and quality. I mean, that's
a very large chunk of it,
and that is directly related to them. I mean, contributed to them. It is. They do an amazing job here. I can't say, and I mean, we just have a fantastic team.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, consistency.
That's great. That's everything. And when you got New Province and started going, you start thinking about, I kind of want to brew some things. I know I'm busy, but I kind of want to get into brewing a little bit again.
I've always got the bug to brew. It's that I say it's like, brewing beer is like artistry. I mean, it is. I mean, so it's like
it's creativity.
You always got to kind of try and scratch that itch somehow. Unfortunately, I don't get to do it that often, but we do have a little pilot system that we use, and we've been using here more recently. And occasionally, I'll get to brew something on that. It's like 10 gallons and something. And we do a small batch release every Friday. It's either typically a beer that we've already brewed and we'll add things to it, or it's one of these new recipes that we come up with, and somebody like on the team brews, and it's been really fun. We've done some really fun stuff over the past, I guess we've been doing it again for like the past year now.
Yeah.
But, it's good.
That's fun. And that's the Tap 5 release.
That is the Tap 5 release every Friday.
Yeah.
So.
And you guys currently on that have the Paint the Town Lavender. Or did you?
I think that one's gone, right?
Okay.
Yeah, like we just actually released.
It got drunk.
Yeah. Oh, well, this wasn't our beer, but so we had some mechanical issues here over the past couple weeks, and so I picked up some beers and a cider from Stone's Throw Brewing out of Little Rock, and also a couple kegs from Moody Brews out of Little Rock.
Okay.
Friends of ours, and so always like to bring some stuff up if we can. And,
sure.
And so we actually got Moody Brews, what's it called? It's their Pilsner.
Okay.
And yeah, we got it on our Tap 5 right now.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think what we're doing this Friday. It's a good question.
Yeah.
I do know, though, we had a festival here, homebrew festival here recently called King for a Day.
Okay.
Where we took the wort from, which is the unfermented beer.
Okay.
From Philosopher King, our flagship IPA.
Sure.
And we let the homebrewers make a completely different beer out of it.
Wow.
And so the winner of that, we rebrewed his beer here a couple weeks back. He and I did. And so we'll be releasing that, I believe, the week after next. So, yeah.
Awesome. Now, is this all local people that compete in that?
Yeah,
or
this is the first
regional,
year we did.
I guess?
Yeah, this is the first year we've done it. Most of everything was from two homebrew clubs here.
Okay.
Flop and Oz.
Yeah.
One basically out of Fayetteville, one out of Rogers. And so both those homebrew clubs mostly competed in this, and we had a big day with it, and it was fantastic.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was a fun day for sure. And again, first time doing it, and we'll definitely do it again.
Absolutely, I would think so. That's great. Did you? Speaking of itch, did you have the itch to bring anything over from the kettle?
I say that there's always the
Rebel kettle. Pardon me.
Yeah, there's always the experience that I bring with it. Mm-hmm. I do help in a lot of the recipe formulation, at least for the new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that Court does most of it, but we do collaborate on some things, and so a lot of those ideas come over, and then we also have used some of the Rebel kettle recipes on the small batch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about doing. We had a big beer at Rebel Kettle called Wake and Flake, which was a coffee and coconut cream stout.
Holy crap.
And so we've started this new series here called Uncharted, and it's kind of to bring, I guess, the fun back in beer.
Yeah.
So, it's a rotating series. The first one we did was a strawberry lager. It was well received. The next one that's coming out is an apricot wheat. And so, I know those sound pretty safe, but we're kind of like seeing how this works.
Sure.
Again, we want to get people back excited about fun beers.
Yeah.
And so one of them that we've kicked around is doing the coffee and coconut cream stout.
Awesome.
That'd be more of like a fall or winter type thing, but still, and maybe bringing something like that back in. But again, we've done some other small batch stuff here that might trump it, but
So do you guys? Did someone just bring up an idea, or do you guys constantly formulate ideas about what to brew?
That's a good question. Again, the small batch stuff's kind of driving some of it, but most of the time, we're just brewing the year-round stuff.
Sure.
And then,
outside of that, of course.
Yeah,
but
we brew a lot of that, and so fitting in new stuff, it's kind of difficult, and that's kind of what the Uncharted series was for.
Okay.
And then we also have done a lot of hazy IPAs here in the past 2-3 years.
God, I miss those, man.
Right?
I can't have grapefruit because it messes with the medication that I take, the anti-rejection, kidney rejection medication. So grapefruit's one of the things I can't have, and that got rid of pretty much hazy IPAs. And I'm like, I used to love them, man.
Well, yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
And so, and they're very popular. We just did a triple hazy IPA for our anniversary. It's an 11% hazy IPA.
Oh, man.
It's kind of ridiculous, but again, it was for our 9th anniversary, and it's been
go
very
big or go home.
That was it.
Yeah.
Normally do like barrel-aged beers for those things, but we felt like for year 9, we do something different, then hopefully bring it back in for year 10, do something really big. But again, it's been very popular. So, again, hazy IPAs are really popular right now and have been for the past, 10 years. Probably,
Yeah, thereabouts. Speaking of very popular, the staples, Philosopher King, Fallen Queen. Tell me about him.
Philosopher King is, it's funny, Philosopher King, and again, I can be biased and unbiased about this one because I've always felt like it is one of the top, American IPAs, or I guess it's more West Coast IPA in the state. When you talk about standard IPAs, Philosopher King ranks way up there.
What was because I'm assuming that, but way before you were with New Province, you had Philosopher King.
I've had most of all of these before I was here. It's funny, when I came in 2022, and I tasted everything on the wall, and to be honest, it's probably the beer that I'd never had before was the Commoner, which is our amber ale.
Yeah.
And to this day, it might be one of my favorite beers that we do. But I do drink a lot of Philosopher King. And probably what I drink most of now is our Del Rey Mexican Lager. We released
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, we released it 2 years ago for Cinco de Mayo, and in 2 years it's become our number 2 draft seller. It has just been a big beer for us. As you well know, though, Mexican lagers, that category has grown over the past
leaps
few years.
and bounds.
Right. So that's a big one for us, but Fallen Queen's a staple. I remember the first time I had it. I was up here for a Rebel Kettle event, and I was in a hotel with my wife, and we came here, and I bought a 6-pack and took it in, and I still love the beer. I always call it a better Blue Moon, but
there you go.
Yeah, it's great. And then Spacesuit, I actually drank a lot of it too, but it's it's such a unique beer because it's so light.
Okay.
You think about it as a light lager with some amazing flavor. It has these great peach character that I love in the finish. It's just again, you can drink it all the time. It's
great.
So light and just drinkable. It's great.
And that's scary.
It is, but
be a little careful.
It's pretty low in alcohol, and so
that's good. That's good.
And then our big seasonal right now is our Dreamin' in Tangerine IPA.
Interesting.
It used to be just a summer seasonal, but it's done so well. We've made it a spring and summer seasonal now.
It's great.
And it just feel like every year it continues to grow. It's so juicy, so fruit forward. It's funny, I say it's the IPA for people that don't like IPAs because it's not real bitter. Again, it's more fruit forward. It's just a delicious beer.
That's great. I love it. I may have to try that. So what is next for you and you guys?
Well, we're going to continue to hopefully grow is the plan. With that, we've got I've got a new year-round hazy IPA that's coming.
Okay.
That's going to be kind of early summer.
Okay.
Aside from that, again, we're going to try and grow in markets.
Sure.
I really would like to get focused on Central Arkansas, which
You bet.
it seems to be working well.
That's great.
Other than that, we're gonna keep pushing on, and
Awesome.
yeah, it's a fun time.
So where can folks find you? Online and in person?
Al, I mean, you can find us just about at every major liquor store.
There you go.
I mean, as far as us, yeah, we're definitely online. www.newprovincebrewing.com.
Okay.
If you go look on our new cans, we've got a QR code that takes you to a link where it has all our links.
Oh, nice.
All our pages.
Okay.
Find everything about us.
All right.
And then, again, you can always just come and see us over here on West Hudson.
Love it. Most important question, are you on TikTok?
We are not.
Oh.
I mean, it's funny, like even a couple years ago.
I just stunned him.
Yeah, right. A couple years ago. No, it's funny, like there was this thing like how brewers were trying to figure out TikTok. like how do we utilize this?
Same.
And I mean, I don't think of myself as a content creator. That's not really my thing. But
I hear you.
I mean, if we can figure it out, yeah, we'd be there. And
awesome.
I'm sure there's some breweries out there that are doing well with it.
I'm quite possibly.
Right.
Quite possibly. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, John.
appreciate
It's
it.
been great.
You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And please tip your servers. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.